Hello everyone, it's me Clayton. I just finished watching High Rise Invasion, based off the manga of the same name, just released to Netflix today, and animated by Zero G. Now when it comes to the death game genre in anime, they're certainly not considered masterpieces in any form, even the really popular ones, such as Future Diary. But what the death game genre does for me is that it provides a fun little case of popcorn entertainment, and when you're certainly under lockdown, that can definitely give you some entertainment that you have needed for quite a long time. Which is why this series ended up entertaining me so much, in the case that it's a little too long for its own good and absolutely has some problems, but it's absolutely the perfect kind of series for a fun binge watch while you're alone and replaces all your boredom with fan service, guns, and tons of epic battles. It's in that way the perfect edgy anime watch. So, High Rise Invasion stars Yuri Honjo, a high school girl who ends up in a world full of high rise buildings connected by suspension bridges as she tries to find her older brother, Rika, while also encountering various other characters and trying to take down the various masked killers that seem to occupy this world. All while we find out information regarding the world that seems like it really comes out of a classic death game anime from the 2000s or the 90s, just made in modern day. But that's all I'll say about the story without spoiling anything. While while the main draw of the series is absolutely the bloody violence and the occasional fan service, complete with tons of panty shots, particularly of our main character, the actual mystery behind the series is pretty inventive too. It doesn't feel like it steals from other death game anime. It actually has an interesting story and some cool mechanics behind the masks and the world that our heroes end up in that I would like to see explored more in another season. But even in this one, they do some interesting things with it, even with some anime cliches thrown in. Plus, Zero G's animation effort, while not the strongest that I've seen, is certainly decent in the sense that most of the action scenes are pulled off well, the CGI that's there isn't too distracting, and that the character designs are generally pretty good and do emulate the manga pretty well. Granted, there's some stiff movement occasionally and the occasional shot that doesn't work, but for the most part, the visuals are okay. On top of that, I really do like the characters. Yuri Honjo does seem a little frightened and seems initially like she'll be a damsel in distress, particularly in the first episode, but she quickly matures and powers up throughout the journey. And I definitely see her as a hero worth rooting for, as she definitely earns her power ups and she certainly manages to combine her strength with tons of genuine resilience and tons of intelligent moves that actually manage to make her feel like a survivor. In fact, this whole series feels like it would make for a great video game, considering the mechanics at play here. And the other characters, including her friend Mayuko, her older brother Rika, and a couple of other allies that she ends up with, end up being pretty good too. Not to mention, the dub for the series does fit that grindhouse cheesy tone pretty well, where the sometimes odd delivery does help with the overall campy fun the series generally provides. That being said, there are a few pacing issues where some episodes feel like they're a little too talk heavy for my taste, and it does feel that the overall story could have been told in around 10 episodes as opposed to the 12, but they had to stretch it out for the sake of a full cour, even though the whole series is available on Netflix and it's not just going at you one episode at a time. That and those who aren't into fan service probably won't like the series, considering how often Yuri has panty shots and even how there's even a few naked scenes there. That and a couple of heavy topics such as suicide are brought up in the series that might pull some triggers, if you know what I mean. But if you're able to get over those, it's definitely a fun time and definitely worthy of a binge watch if you enjoy the other death game anime from recent seasons, such as Darwin's Game and Gleipnir. In fact, the series ending even sort of reminds me of the ending of Darwin's Game. So, basically, it's definitely not a series for everyone, but But in the case of anime junk food, it's definitely one that I wouldn't mind chowing down on again if they happen to make a season 2. That's why I'm going to give High Rise Invasion a 7.5 out of 10. See you next time.